Afghanistan and Pakistan are at war along their border. Now, last week, Pakistan launched airstrikes in Afghanistan's Paktika province, killing 46 people. A few days later, the Afghan Taliban retaliated by shelling Pakistani positions along the contentious Durand line. These incidents follow from accusations from Kabul against Islamabad for indiscriminate bombing, which Pakistan claims was aimed at militant hideouts. The situation is further complicated by the presence of the Haqqani network, a group with close ties to Pakistan's ISI. The timing is significant, the timing of these border attacks, as an Afghan delegation, including Sirajuddin Haqqani, was visiting Pakistan when these attacks unfolded. Amid speculation of growing friction between the Pak Taliban and Afghanistan, the Afghan Taliban and Pakistan, there are serious questions about the broader implications of these events. Joining me to discuss this are author and senior journalist Imtiaz Gul, Major General Ashwini Sivach, defense analyst, and in the studio I have with me my colleague Deepak Pradana. Deepak, break down for us what's been going on the AfPak border in the last couple of days. You've been looking at that story very closely.
So the present round of hostilities begins, just like a couple of weeks back.
Yes.
When in a bomb blast, Khalil Haqqani, the interior minister for Afghanistan, was assassinated. Now Khalil Haqqani happens to be the younger brother of the supremo of the Haqqani network, Jalaluddin Haqqani. These are extremely close to the ISI. They are essentially, an arm of the ISI today.
Yes.
So after that, 1 week later, while an Afghan delegation was there in Pakistan to speak about a prospective peace,
Yes.
It seems that the Pakistanis, in an effort to send a message, bombed Paktika.
Right.
Now, Paktika happens to be an area where the Haqqanis hold influence. This brings us to a very important question. Is there finally a break between the Haqqanis and the ISI? Furthermore, just 3-4 days later, the Afghans retaliated.
Yes.
So a number of border outposts along the contentious line, the Afghans call it the hypothetical line. They do not accept it as any border.
They don't accept the Durand line, yes.
So they fired with light and heavy weapons.
Yes.
And they claimed the lives of about 19 Pakistani servicemen.
Right.
So this is where we stand today. Pakistan has not ruled out, doing more bombings.
Right.
And the Afghans have brought their weapons.
So it's literally on a hair trigger, the Durand line, and Imtiaz Gul is with us. I'm going to ask him about this. Mr. Gul, we've been talking to you several times when that assassination happened of that very key member of the Haqqani network inside of Afghanistan, and tempers seem to have fled. What is this present round of hostilities between Afghanistan and Pakistan? Does it suggest that this is going to be like a tense border for the years to come, as long as these disagreements remain, that it's going to be a no war, no peace kind of situation between the Afghan Taliban and the Pakistan military?
Well, it looks like, I think as long as the Afghan Taliban and people outside remain fixated on fiction, your colleague was also, for instance, talking about an Afghan delegation being present in Pakistan, which I am not aware of, sitting in Islamabad when Khalil Haqqani was killed, or this real proximity between the Haqqani network and the ISI. This was a story of the past. There may still be relationships, but to say that the Afghans are still very close, or the Haqqanis are very close to the ISI, despite the exchanges of these rockets and bombs, we really have to rationalize the entire discourse. The reality is that the Afghans, whether they are Taliban or before them the Republic Taliban or Republic Afghans, nobody is ready to accept the reality that there is nothing like Durand line.
Yes.
This is an internationally recognized border of Pakistan with Afghanistan.
Yes.
2,560 kilometer long border.
Right.
This is what we all should underline. And the other reality is that while Pakistan may have had its own faults, it has had its shortcomings.
Yes.
It was a lone voice in complaining about terrorist attacks from the other side. But right now, This is Russia, this is China, this is Tajikistan, this is Uzbekistan, talking about cross-border attacks, cross-border militants. And thirdly, the Taliban in the last 3 years have set up hundreds of new madaris or seminaries, which is producing a certain breed of jihadists. And
Right.
these jihadists will be ready to recruit for missions anywhere.
Right.
So as long as this state of refusal, state of denial persists in Afghanistan, Afghanistan in general, I think
Yes.
the problems will remain.
General Sivaj, in the past, we come back to that one statement from Hillary Clinton where she kept talking about this thing of Pakistan and snakes in its backyard. Do you think we have reached a point today where the snakes are no longer in anyone's control and they're freely going across the border and biting whoever they please? And not only Pakistan, but the other Central Asian countries need to worry about what Afghanistan seems to have become today.
Well, I'm very correct. Sandeep, this what you have said is that when Hillary Clinton came in 2013
Yes.
as a Secretary of State in Pakistan, so she said that if you have snakes in your courtyard and you think it will only bite your neighbor, one day they will bite you also. And this is what has happened to Pakistan. This Taliban Pakistan is a creation of their own. This
Yes.
terrorism has been grown in Pakistan, whether it is Lashkar-e-Toba, Jaish-e-Mohammed, or Taliban Pakistan. Now, what Pakistan has been doing is that it's differentiating between good and bad terrorists. A terrorist which they send it to India, Lashkar-e-Toba, Jaish-e-Mohammed, for them, they are good terrorists because they are meeting their requirement. They are their strategic asset. When a terrorist which is fighting against them, that is Taliban Pakistan, they are bad terrorists. So the definition is so blurred as far as Pakistan is concerned. Till the time they stop differentiating between good and bad terrorists and consider terrorists as a terrorist and take action against that, you will not find Pakistan coming out of this problem. Now, having said so, Sandeep, what is the problem between Afghanistan and Pakistan? That's very clear. The point is, as far as Afghanistan is concerned, they do not recognize dual line. It's
Right.
an imaginary line which has been created in 1893 between British India and Afghanistan. It follows a river line and mountains, and it divides Pashtun on the either side. The Pashtun which are there with Pakistan, Pashtun which are there with Afghanistan. And the loyalty of Pashtuns are more toward Afghanistan. They want to get united and they want to have a Sharia law. And that's what Taliban Pakistan is trying to do. Now, the Taliban Pakistan, no doubt about it, its bases are in Afghanistan. The Taliban and Pakistan Taliban, they are the two sides of the same coin. They have the
Right.
same ideology.
Yes.
So the point is, they're not denying the fact. As on today, Taliban Pakistan has got majority of its bases in Afghanistan, and Taliban government is almost given them a free run. So what Pakistan is having problem today, this Taliban Pakistan come and attack the Pakistan and then they go back again in Afghanistan.
Right,
And the number
right.
of casualty which has occurred over a period of time, where the 16 soldiers were killed even in one of the posts which was raided by
Right.
Taliban Pakistan, which they came from Afghanistan.
Right.
Now this is what Pakistan is saying. This is their red line in case Taliban Pakistan kept on getting support from Afghanistan. The relation between Pakistan and Afghanistan will not improve. But at the same time, what
Yes.
Pakistan is trying to do is that the type of action which they have taken it, when Mohammad Sadiq, he's a special envoy of Pakistan for Afghanistan, when he
Yes.
was in Afghanistan and discussing these matters, whether with the interior minister or also with the foreign minister, you find an air strike taking place
Yes.
in Paktika, where 46 civilians were killed. Pakistan claims that this was the training camp of the TTP.
Yes.
But whereas Afghanistan is saying these are the refugees which migrated from Pakistan, and majority of them are basically children and the women. So
Right.
the point which comes is that there is a total distrust which is existing between Pakistan and Afghanistan, and the situation is further going to deteriorate. Now, in case if the situation go out of hand, is Pakistan capable of pressurizing Afghanistan Taliban, or it is in that might of their military, can they really subdue Afghanistan Taliban? I don't think so. The reason is simple.
Right. I'll ask
terrain-
Imtiaz Gul this, General. The point, Imtiaz, that the General was making is that the TTP seems to be the root cause of the friction between the Afghan Taliban and the Pakistan government. And of course, the Durand line, which is actually the international boundary between Afghanistan and Pakistan. What are the red lines that Pakistan has conveyed to the Afghan Taliban in terms of the red lines that should not be crossed between the two countries?
Well, I think Pakistan conveyed this red line last September when hordes of Taliban crossed into Pakistan last September. And thereafter, Pakistan, I think, responded with some punitive measures. It obviously hurt the Taliban, because they are now ruling there. And time and again, Pakistan had been complaining about this cross-border activity, and the intent of Ambassador Sadiq's visit was also to reconvey the same message, but
Right.
with the intent of resuming talks. Obviously, Pakistan got some information, and this is the people who had fled. This is the people of Hafiz Gul Bahadur, a warlord who had fled from the operation of Zarb-e-Azb in 2014 and had been sheltering in Burmal area of Paktika province. And this is what they were busy in a meeting, we are told. All the Taliban local leadership had gathered there, and it was targeted. So this is the red line, because this year, this 2024, is going to be the bloodiest year for
Yes.
Pakistan in terms of fatalities that Pakistan has suffered. It's nearly 2,500. It's a 9-year high. And obviously, for any country, even to lose a single person in terrorist violence is something big. But here we have lost once again, after 9 years, almost 2,500 people, including 700 security personnel. So it's for the Taliban now Afghan Taliban to take a conclusive, definitive action against them. But they are pretending that Osama bin Laden was not handed over because Mullah Omar thought that this is against the Afghan tradition of turning in your guests. The current information minister, Mullah Khair Khan, said similar things 3 days ago when he said that these people in Burma who had been attacked, they are our guests. We cannot turn them away. So how do you deal with such a situation? This is a question I am posing to you all.
Yes. So that's a question that we actually have been searching for the answers for several years, Imtiaz Gul. And it seems that, as they say, history doesn't repeat, but it seems to rhyme very often. And that seems to be the case here in the subcontinent as well. But that's the story that we've been looking at, the Af-Pak war, in terms of the recent hostilities between Afghanistan and Pakistan. It's a burning issue. It's an issue that promises to stay there for as long as these red lines that we just mentioned, our experts just told us, as long as those red lines continue to stay and in fact be crossed with alacrity by both sides, Afghanistan and Pakistan are going to be in a constant state of tension.